All right, what's up, guys? This is the last video in our Foundations module, and so congratulations for making it this far. I want to talk to you from my heart about what it means to truly be dad tough. In the first several months of starting this brand, a lot of people ask me the question, don't you mean tough dad? And I understand the connotation. Tough dad is the emphasis is on tough, right? The kind of dad is a tough dad. But that's not really what I mean by this brand. This brand is talking about the kind of tough that is dad tough. There are all kinds of tough, and there's all kind of definitions for tough, but dad tough rises to the top. The kind of toughness where you're the first one up in the morning, where you power through the difficulties, where you find the solution. When the problem can't be fixed and your wife is trying to solve it, or your kids are trying to fix this or that and they're struggling through it, dad comes to the rescue. This is dad tough. Dad rises to the top. That is the kind of toughness we're talking about. We're not talking about just being a rude and gruff and mean type of guy that's tough, that maybe people might say is tough. Somebody met me, and after they had met me, they'd heard about my brand, said it was dad tough. And then when they met me in person, they're like, you're not tough. And I'm like, maybe because I smile, I'm friendly. And I don't mean that you are rude and gruff and mean. I mean that there's a mental toughness that comes alongside. It's not being rude, but it's rather this toughness, this mental fortitude that powers through even in difficult situations. And so being fit, working out, being able to flex and look in the mirror, those are all great things, but dad tough is deeper than those things. It's about who you are when nobody's watching, where character is built, the character that is in a dad to be dad tough. It's about how you lead your family and how you manage your mindset, how you live with discipline, even when you don't feel like it. That's the mental fortitude I'm talking about, this dad tough. It's not just a brand. It is a standard that dad set. You know, you might be a dad, I might not be a dad on this episode and you're watching this, but you can also be dad tough. It's the kind of toughness that we're talking about, that you are dad tough. You rise to the occasion. And so whoever you are, wherever you are in your stages of life, I hope that in this episode, you're encouraged to take the steps forward and really live and come into your own in this idea of dad tough. So let me tell you, there are three things that I've created as pillars for this brand. On most all of my my marketing that I put out there, I talk about three things. First is faith, fatherhood, and fitness. And in that order, I've not talked a lot about faith through these 4 episodes, but there's an entire module about faith and really where discipline is found inside of Scripture. And so you can go through those and watch through and read through the different scriptures that are in there that talk about being a father and being a wife and caring for your children and being a good manager or boss or discipline and character in your own life straight from Scripture. And so where my faith is founded. But then secondly, in fatherhood, that it's dads, all right? The name says it all. You're dad tough. It's fatherhood. And then fitness, as we all band together to be the best version of ourselves. And I believe fitness is foundational for creating the disciplines and the lifestyle that really is necessary. It's what changed my life back 7 years ago from this recording, where my life began to take a different path than where it was on. This kind of lazy, tired dad that was late 30s and finally making the pivot to do something about it. And that's what I'm challenging each of you to do. So with that being said, let me give you just 3 ideals for what we mean by this idea of dad tough, this brand dad tough. First of all is discipline. Every man wants results, right? And if you're on this right now listening, you want results. But the issue is that very few want to do what it takes, go through the routines to get those results. We look at people who have been successful, who've built empires, whether in business or they've been successful in other areas, or maybe we like the way that they look, we like their stage presence, we follow them on social media and we think we want to be like that. But the issue is that we aren't willing all the time to take the steps it took them to get there. They went through hard knocks. They went through difficulties. They went through times when they were nobody and did not have anything, and they built and grew. And so it takes that mental fortitude or the discipline to walk forward even when maybe you don't feel like it, when you don't want to, or you're not really sure of the path. But getting the results that you want is going to take discipline. It's going to take routine. And so living inside of the routine, discipline is doing what you said you'd do, right? It's keeping your word. That takes discipline. It takes character to do that. Long after the feeling that made you say it has left, you still keep your word. When the emotion of it is over, you still keep your word. It means showing up at the gym when you're tired, right? It means showing up and leading your family with patience even when you're stressed out. It means leading with control, and you're controlling your actions, that is, even when everything else around you makes you want to snap, right? It is that mental discipline to stay focused on those things that really matter. All right. Then secondly is leadership. Not only discipline, but leadership. Being dad tough means leading. All right. You set the tone for your home. Don't expect for your wife to do that. Don't expect for the kids to do that. You set the tone for your home. What kind of home do you want it to be? What kind of vacations are you going to go on, and are you going to plan? What is the mood of your home going to be like? You set that tone, Dad. You decide what kind of atmosphere your family feels. Your kids are watching how you're handling pressures. Your wife sees how you respond when things get hard. And leadership isn't about being loud, right? It's about being consistent. You being the same. I'll draw from Jesus. That scripture tells us that Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and forever. All right? Be consistent. Be the same. Don't be one hot and cold all the time, back and forth, back and forth. Be consistent so that your family knows they can count on you. And one of the ways that you're able to do that in leadership is to get to the gym, eat properly, nourish yourself properly, exercise on routine, and establish those routines and disciplines in your life so that you can lead well. When you take care of your health, when you manage your time, and you stay grounded in your values, you're setting the example, and you're showing up for your kids. You're showing them what strength really looks like, and that it's anchored in purpose. And Dad, you're stepping forward in that purpose. You are dad tough. That's the kind of tough that you are. Lastly, number 3, it's a lifestyle. Okay? This community here is just a means to help you in that lifestyle. Dad tough, the men who are dad tough, they are in communities like this because they see the value of what the future is. They see the legacy they want. These are the things that you find that they're investing in. They're investing in things that make them a better dad. Why? Because they know they got to show up for those kids. They got to show up for their spouse. They got to show up in their family and their marriage and that work. So being dad tough is a lifestyle. It's not a 30-day challenge that you complete. We'll do some challenges on here. You'll be a part of some challenges. But can I tell you, it's not about that challenge. It's not 30 days and we're done. It's not 4 months and we're over. It's not when I turn this age or when I get to January 1, I'll start. No, it is a lifestyle. And if you can adopt that today, I'm going to save you some time today. When I started, I said, I'm going to do 4 months of coaching. And then I got to that 4 months and I looked at my life and I was like, man, I'm gonna go the next 6 months. And I started setting these short gaps. You know what I understood when I finally, a year passed, I realized I'm not going to play this game anymore of when this happens and when this happens, when this happens. No, this is my lifestyle. This is now who I am as a person. And what I'm asking you to do, I'm challenging each one of you dads to do, is to be this person. It's not a diet, it's a lifestyle. It's not working out, it's a lifestyle. This is your new lifestyle, your new normal. And so make this your new normal, who you are in your lifestyle. You're building a legacy, the kind of dad that your kids will brag about. Not because you're perfect, because I'm far from perfect, and my kids know that, but because you were consistent and you were strong in your conviction, in your consistency. Finally, let me just conclude and end our Foundations module with these words. When I say dad tough, I'm not talking about the flex. All right. I like the flex, right? But I'm not talking about the flex. I'm talking about setting a standard for yourself, for your family, and for your future. Every workout, every choice, every act of discipline, it's all building something eternal. And that's what this movement is all about. If the Dad Tough brand is a movement, then let it be, right? But let it be about this. That's what it means to be Dad Tough. We aren't just getting stronger. We're becoming the kind of men our families can count on. That's being Dad Tough. And that's the Dad Tough standard. So now I ask you to live it. Be Dad Tough.